Okay, hello and welcome back to the Red Barons Gaming YT. Today I'm doing something for a few of my friends, but it will pertain to newer War Thunder players. I know a lot of people are on War Thunder looking at like the big stars like Fly Daily, Max TV, Orange Doom, Bowtime Gaming, things like that, where they do very complex things with their gaming. Like they do high tier jets and make it succeed. High tier tanks, make that succeed. Me and some friends are just starting out, so here I am with a how-to tutorial. This is the first one, and it may seem basic, but I'm going to break this into three parts. So yes, the first part will be just basically how to configure controls. Um, Second part will be just the basics of the plane, flaps, using your keybinds with the plane. Um, like after you get it set up, so that's why it's part two. You get your plane's controls set up, and I will be doing one for tanks as well. So, but let's start with planes, and then after that, I'm going to go into like weapons and different ballistics and how to aim them, different techniques when you get different belts of how to make your machine guns and cannons coexist harmoniously and not be thinking you're firing cannons when you're firing machine guns and vice versa and wasting ammo, and how to make, like on this plane which only has 120 rounds of cannon ammo, how to make those rounds count when they need to count and not to waste them. So yes, without further ado, let's jump right into this. Part 1. Okay, so part 1 is the controls. Okay, so if you go to controls, I'll probably have to show you that. Go to this gear button, you go to options, controls. So right now, because I'm selecting an aircraft, it will automatically pull up the aircraft right here. You've got controls, weaponry, main axis, mechanization, gunners, camera, miscellaneous, just shit, okay? So I'm going to simplify this shit. So you want mouse aim, mouse joystick, virtual instructor, yes, otherwise it'll put you into full reel, and you don't want that as a beginner. So small and large and additional guns usually, when you first start, actually, well, I've already set it up, so whatever. These two will be bound to the left mouse button. So if you click on it, left mouse button, okay? So it'll end up looking something like this, okay? And this will be blank. This additional guns will be blank. There'll be nothing. It'll just be, to LMB. So small guns, yes, keep that as LMB, okay? Click it 3 times until all 3 are, otherwise you might get some wacky stuff. So, but large caliber guns, you do not want LMB, otherwise you'll be using cannons and machine guns at the same time. And I prefer, especially when it comes to things with less cannon ammo than machine gun ammo, I'd like to conserve my cannon ammo when I need it and use my machine guns only if I'm peppering someone or finishing off a kill or something where I don't need cannon ammo. So I like to set this one to the right mouse button, like this. Click it, and click your sign button, click on it, good to go. Additional guns, often those are with your BF-109s and things with gun pods, so those usually be cannons or heavy machine guns, so I also put those in the large caliber guns. And another thing is, if you have a 12.7 millimeter machine gun and a 7.7, so a 50 cal and a 30 cal being smaller, that's smaller even though they are machine guns, and if you have 50 cals and 20 mils or 13 mils and 20 mils, something like that, the smallest caliber gun will be your small caliber gun, obviously. So just to clear that up, machine guns, cannons, bomb bay door, I don't mess with that. Bombs, space is default. Drop bomb series, I do alt 3 or Alt space, I mean, excuse me. Fire rockets. On my mouse, I have two side buttons. So I click here and I do the RM or MB5. So mouse button 5. It's a steel series. It's got two buttons on the side, one in the front, one in the back. Long button. One in the front is rockets, okay? You won't be needing this until you get to rank 6 or 7. I don't even know. Flares, whatever. Don't need this. Radar. You won't need that. I can do a thing on radar. Scourge Musk. Those are only on German and a few Japanese fighters with those cannons that face straight up. Like, here's a good example of Scourge Musk cannons. They are these ones right here that, as you can see, are facing upwards. It was, excuse that. It was basically just a thing to protect the pilot from the bombers, gunners. Didn't really work real well. Bomb drops, flares. Okay. Flaps are F. Air brake I have is H. Toggle gear G. Drag chute, you won't be needing that. Gunners, I just have V. I can just click V and it'll go third person cockpit, or it'll go third person gunners cockpit, or Bombay cockpit, so on. Like, depending on the plane, you'll figure it out. Just have your toggle view as V, cockpit view F2. That's all. Default tracking camera. Because the right mouse button is usually by default the tracking camera, I have my back button on the side, backside button, basically the one right behind the one I use for the rockets, as my tracking camera, or track enemy camera. So basically I'll push X and it'll, which is default for tracking or selecting a target to track. Basically you push this button if you have it, otherwise you may have to figure out a different way to do it for your computer. Not everyone's the same, but mine's a Steel Series, simple $35 thing from Best Buy, not expensive, not cheap. It's not like a little Logitech piece of shit, you know. I mean, it's a beginner gaming mouse, so that's what I have. No one, I mean, I have this just for more realism, so I can open and close the cockpit, cockpit lighting, acrobatic smoke. Don't touch any of this. And that is literally all you have to do to get set up for flying. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into part 2, which is airplane basics. Now using your now set up key control keybinds. Okay, so here we are. This is default view for arcade and realistic mode. Push C again. You know, I've got Z set up as the zoom, obviously. You know, I can zoom in, 360 view, and this is like V1. Okay, this is like what you start off. Click V once for this one. You can see inside the cockpit. I mean, I can, you know, move the stick around, throttle up, throttle back. You know, gun sight, look back. There's my cannon 1, cannon 2, or vice versa. Yes. Here we are looking now at the cockpit. B, here's the cockpit lighting. This one's cockpit doesn't open. That's not a big deal, as I said. This is the second one. This is your attitude indicator. Up, down. Right now I'm at positive 15 degrees nose up, obviously, as the plane is a tail dragger, and then another V and you're back to third person, or, you know, stuff like that. There's the F2, F3. So with your keybinds, Q and E are your rudder. Q is put the rudder to turn left, E to turn right, like so. And in cockpit, that'll look like this. Okay. W and S are, W is nose down, S is nose up. I can also, for some small control, use just the mouse aim. As you can see, it's not as good as this. And again, in cockpit, stick goes forward to nose over, back to stick neutral. Okay, now A and D, A is roll, D is roll. This way you'd be going left and right, left and right. Stick again, goes to left, goes to right. You can see your elevator and everything moving there. Okay, so mouse wheel, or I use shift and control to speed up and slow down and push the brake basically as well. So if I use mouse roll wheel, I can take off like this. F, flaps raised. Plane pretty much flies itself off the runway. There's nothing you have to do there. So yes, into gunnery tactics, and basically just how to conserve ammo, different situations of how to use your ammo in different situations, on just basics of ammo. So yes, part 3. Okay, so here we are back in the hangar. This is start part 3. So ammunition types. Reserve aircraft, like this, Kite-10 biplane, only has 2 of the same ammo or gun types, 2 Type 89 machine guns, okay? These are your belts. You have default, which is what you'd standardly get. Like as soon as you unlock a new plane, default, you don't get any of this unlocked. It's default to the end. But you unlock this, or there might be one here, like on this one. It says after the 7.7s, you can unlock offensive 20mm guns, which allows you this belt. But your belts, again, would be, it would look something like this, and none of this. And never pay for those. Premiums always get this, but don't pay for it. So to set your belt, you hover over it, belts drop down. Universal are armor-piercing tracer bullets, armor-piercing bullet, adjustment incendiary bullet, and armor-piercing incendiary bullet, okay? You don't really want tracer bullets for your machine guns, or at least I don't. So I tend to use stealth. So, plus these have more incendiary and armor-piercing benefits than any of these. Tracers are useless. Universals, not so good. Default, never use. So I always stick to stealth, okay? But you will not get tracer with stealth. That is why they are stealth. Basically, once you hit the enemy is when they'll know they're being shot at. So it's very, very good for sneaking up on people, but I wouldn't really suggest using 20 mils, especially with these FFM guns, because they don't have the best velocity and you're going to be guessing a lot, and you only have 120 rounds. But if you have like 30 mils and 20 mils, and you've got a lot of ammo, like 800 rounds per se, and 400 rounds, or 250 and 150, use whatever floats your boat then. But a lot of times I'll stick with air targets because they get the Minga shots, Universal as well because they get Minga shots, and never use tracer for these FFMs. So air targets. Universals if you're going after bombers, air targets if you're just going after fighters, which this thing prevails best at fighters. So if we get into a mission quickly, I do hit combat. Let's pick something around that battle rating of 3. Okay, that's about it. Okay, so here we are. Here's our formation. See the roll, pitch, and dive, yaw, wingman. So here is what stealth belts look like. Not a whole hell of a lot. This is what the air targets will look like. There's tracers, every others, and you see them exploding. At that range is what you want to be shooting the enemy with, okay? So if you're coming head on with an XP-38 like this, which you should really never be doing, I would suggest a high-pitched climb up and a roll over and come down like that so he can't get guns on target, and then start a vertical turning dogfight. And then at this point, to gauge range and distance, use the machine guns, and you can see the hit indicator. This is where I'd hit the engine stall button and pull in on his tail. Now you can see. And now when he's pulling up, lead about, I don't know, 2 inches on the screen ahead and fire. And you see there, I hit. Continue the turn. Here I would suggest just using machine guns just to gauge again. Not sure what he's doing. Again, about 2 or 3 inches ahead. Very close, no cigar. Another inch or so as he pulls up. Close, no cigar. Another. And always fire in short bursts. And always like stop after you see one tracer. And there you go. That is a critical hit. And now you, at this range, you can just pepper one of his engines with stealth belts and hope it ignites, but it didn't. So roll back over. Fire again with the machine guns, just let them know you're there. Flaps. Always, if you see that warning, retract the flaps. And here is a very good position to be in. Boom. And you still have 28 rounds of cannon ammo left. So that is how you can save ammo. Always use short bursts. Use your machine guns in a cohesive manner with your 20 mils, and make sure to always lead about, especially with these guns, which I know one of my friends has this aircraft in his lineup. He got it for himself. So to you, shout out to you. About 2 to 3 inches ahead, and if they start pulling up, just point the gun at them, especially if they're within point. Always use meters too, just so when you're asking me, I can kind of figure it out easier. 0.4 m, or yeah, 0.40 m. Within that, if they're pulling up, just point at the plane and fire a short burst. And what happened to that P-38 will most likely happen to any of your opponents. So yeah. I'm also going to be adding a part 4 to this, just because I want to just cover one last thing that's been a question among some of my friends and followers, and that is the stat card. So yeah. Okay, so here's the 4th and final part. This is just a very quick part, and it is what this is, or what this is. So here's a little bit of homework on this thing. Look at this and tell me in the comments section below, what is the maximum speed what is its maximum altitude, and what is it armed with? Please write that down, and I want everything, all 3 lines, what it is. And then I shall know if you are paying attention or not. CS. But now I will go over on a different aircraft what the stat card means and how it is set up. This might be very, very simple, but basically this is it. So it says the name, the rank being, this is rank 1, this line down to this line. This is rank 2, probably one of the biggest for the Japanese. Lots of good stuff here. Rank 3, that's where it sits, that's why it has that those 3 bars. Rank 4, see the rank switching. Rank 5 and newly appointed rank 6, and in the Army you do have rank 7 now. That'd be like your Type 90 MBT. Yeah. CS. Back to stat card. So it says the name FW190A5 Premium because of this symbol. Japanese. Battle rating 4.7. Again, I'm going to explain this. 4.7. You see 3.7? This thing can find itself in with this, and this thing can go down to this. No lower than this. So 3.3 off limits. 3.7. What's another good one? Where's a 5.7? 5.7 right here. This thing can end up with this thing at 5.7. It cannot go to 6.3. It cannot go to 6.0. It can only go to 5.7. So it will basically fight bing to ding. Basically, just starting rank. This rank, the 4th rank, and basically the very beginning of rank 3. So that is what the battle rating system is. It's to try to balance things out. Okay, so rank and battle rating. 20mm MG151 times 2. That'd be these. 500 rounds. That's not per gun. That's between the guns. That is 250 rounds apiece. It's 500 rounds. 20mm MG FFMs with 180 rounds. They're the same ones on the BF-109E7 we just looked at. They're right here, 90 rounds apiece instead of 60. 7.92 MG17 machine guns times 2. Those are right here and here. 1,800 rounds, so 900 rounds apiece. It's a lot of machine gun ammo, but it's not very useful. Crew 1, maximum speed 648, at height 5,800 meters, generally don't fly that high. Maximum altitude, this is all based on level flight too. Maximum altitude 12,000 meters, turn time is 22 seconds, so you're not turning in this thing and you lose speed very quickly, so boom and zoom up and down. Rate of climb 14.1 meters a second, which is very, very good for a plane. And takeoff run 420 meters, not that that really makes a difference. Armor, you've got your armor thing selector, different thicknesses. Primarily focus on this and the seat. That's basically what's protecting the pilot. X-ray, as I showed you just before, it shows control surfaces, fuel tanks, cannons, spars, engine, what kind of engine it is. It's a BMW 801 D2 14-cylinder radial engine, air-cooled. Very, very good engine. Then you go to modifications. Mark of distinction I've unlocked, talisman, because it's premium. Gold means premium. Got 4 cannons, 2 machine guns. Got your belts, as before. See air target stealth. Different modulars that you can repair. A stock plane. Stock meaning not ground out. Basically looks like this. I've basically only done the 7.7s for the turret. But as you can see, I can basically grind this. Basically, you unlock 2, well, this one is 1 because it leads into this. But if I unlock these two, I can unlock this row. I gotta unlock 2 here to unlock this row. That is how the grind works. So that has been my 3 to 4 part quickie summary on how to start the game and how to start understanding it, just for a few friends. So shout out to them for kind of forcing me into making this. They didn't actually ask me to. I'm just doing it to make it for them, just so they've got reference. And I will be making another one for tanks, because they do play tank and plane as well. So yeah, so without further ado, I will enjoy it if you would subscribe to the channel to see more videos. Leave a like if you've enjoyed this. Hit the notification bell to stay posted. All of my Discord and email and everything is down in the link description below. And without further ado, this has been the Red Baron's tutorial. I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely Friday. Yeah, see y'all later.